What's up YouTube, this is Bison X79 coming to you with my latest deck profile video for July 2020, and today guys, we're going to be looking at my updated Lair Darkness build. Lair Darkness for me was one of the better structure decks released in the last few years. Just being built around the field spell that will allow you to tribute off your opponent's monsters for your own card effects is just insane. With that being said, this deck was primarily built to be a board buster. Being able to bust through your boards going second, or hey, setting up to create a field that can be extremely problematic and disruptive to your opponent's play string even better. So this deck has the best of both worlds, excuse me. You can go first with it, you can go second with it, and either way, this deck's got the plays that can really help you out. So without further ado, we're going to dive right into this. And we're going to first take a look at two copies of Darkest Diablos, the Lord of the Lair. We only run two because we don't really need three. What does this guy do? Well, he can't be tributed off by your opponent's card effects, so no Kaijus can stop this guy. While this guy is in your hand or the graveyard, and you tribute off a monster, you can special summon him from either one of those places, which is actually very awesome. And while this guy's in the field, you can tribute off a Darker Tribute monster. Your opponent has to take a card from their hand and place it on top of their deck or the bottom of the deck, so you're ripping a resource out of your opponent's hand and really causing them some serious problems. With 3k attack and 2k defense, yeah, this guy is going to be able to allow you to do a lot of different things. So definitely the reason why you want to have him at 2, but don't go up to 3. Gets bricky. 3 copies of Arima the Wicked Warden. Warden is pretty damn awesome. You can actually discard a card from your hand and search your deck for the Lair of Darkness field spell. And I do want to point out that that effect is not a hard once per turn. So if your opponent ashes the first copy and you have a second copy in hand, you can always discard a second copy and still get Lair. While this card is on the field, you can tribute a Darker Tribute monster to draw a card. Or if you tribute another monster that wasn't itself, you can search your deck for a Darker Tribute monster with up to 2,000 defense points, aka Darkest Diablos. So it can actually help you out very well, just by allowing you to get additional draws or adding Darkest Diablos to your hand ASAP. So very awesome card. That's why you need him in your deck. We're also running 3 copies of Lilith, the Lady of Lament. Lilith is such an amazing card. She's got an awesome quick effect that will allow you to tribute off a Darker Tribute monster, whether it be yours or your opponent's. You reveal 3 normal traps from your deck. Your opponent picks 1 to set to your field, the other 2 are shuffled back into your deck, so it does help the deck get going and allows you to set up more disruptions during your opponent's turn, which can be very harmful. Just remember, if you normal summon her, attack goes down to 1,000 attack, but there are ways to get her out with 2,000, so very, very good. Of course, we got the new girl on the block. We wanted 1 copy of Malice. She's just like Lilith, has a quick effect that allows you to tribute monsters. They don't have to be Darker Tribute, they just have to be monsters, so you can be tributing tokens as well. And what happens is that you are allowed to target one of your trap cards that are either banished or in the graveyard and reset it on the field. And if that trap card leaves the field, it goes back to the bottom of your deck. So very awesome, and she's definitely worth having at 1 in this deck. You don't want to be running more than 1 copy of her, primarily because she requires 2 tributes, and if your opponent doesn't have that many monsters in the field, it kind of defeats the purpose of taking away from your own board. So that's why we only run 1. To help get cards out of the deck onto the field, 2 copies of Tour Guide from the Underworld. I know she is a major Ash target to prevent from stopping from special summon from the deck, but hey, there is a way around it in this particular build, and I can tell you right now that you will not mind having her being ashed at all, especially if you open with that particular spell. We'll cover that when we get to it. Other than that, she can help you get into your rank 3 plays or your link plays, because she is a link to monster in the making. Okay, we also have some pretty generic targets for tour guide, whether it be Lilith, Malice, or we even have Sagan here. Sagan, if it's ever sent from the field to the graveyard, you're searching your deck for a monster with 1500 or less attack points to add to your hand. Very awesome. You just can't activate or use that card's effects during the turn, but that's not an issue at all because this card gives you access to a lot of different cards in your deck. And of course, since we are running a bit of more of a rank 3 engine in this deck, I am running some Burning Abyss cards in here. We got Seer, Graph, and Farfa all at one. And yes, I'm calling this a Lair of Darkness deck. It's not a Burning Abyss deck. It is a Lair of Darkness deck. Seer special summons from the graveyard, Graph special summons from the deck, and Farfa will remove a problematic monster when any of them are sent to the graveyard, and that basically means discard it from hand, sent from field to the graveyard, tribute it. Sent is such a broad term in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! And it covers a lot of different things. So that's why these cards are just such a natural fit in this deck, because it can just help you get going even faster. For hand traps, 2 copies of Effect Veiler. Again, this is a card that you can utilize multiple times in a turn. Worth having in your deck. And 2 copies of Nibiru. Again, this is just to stop your opponent from going completely and totally insane. And it gives your opponent a token, and because of Lair's effect, where it can give your opponent tokens based on the number of cards you tributed, yeah, it can actually flood your opponent's field with tokens and not allow them to be able to use them for anything. So, yeah, that's actually pretty good, in my opinion. Now, if you don't want to turn around and utilize Nibiru, and you want other hand traps, Ash Blossom would be a good card to replace Nibiru with. So, just my personal preference in this particular situation for this spells. This is a Lair of Darkness deck, so you have to be running 3 copies of Lair of Darkness. You want to be seeing this card in your hand, or at least seeing a way to get to this card. Turns all monsters on the field into Dark Tributes. Very awesome. Allows you to tribute off your opponent's monsters for your own effects, which is even better. And during the turn player's phase, you get tokens on the field based on the number of monsters you tributed. So, yeah, you can give yourself tokens to build into Link monsters, or you can basically give your opponent tokens and clog their field up to the point where they can't really do anything. So, very good. 1 copy of Terraforming is essentially a 4th Lair of Darkness. And then the card that really helps Tour Guide shine is 3 copies of Ties of the Brethren. Ties of the Brethren allows you to target a face-up monster on the field and special summon from your deck 2 of the monsters with the same attribute and type and level to the field, which will allow you to be able to expand your plays. Downside, you can't special summon after that, so typically you want to be utilizing something like Lilith or Malice on the field to be able to get into your traps or recycle your traps back from your graveyard. Moving forward for the trap lineups, and we want the trap lineups to be heavy because we want these cards to really do the heavy lifting. 3 copies of Ballista Squad, tribute off 1 monster, and then you'd be able to target 1 card on your opponent's side of the field to destroy it. So basically, you tribute off 1 card to pop another. Very awesome. 3 copies of Dark Spirit Art Greed, tribute off your Dark Tribute monster, and you draw 2 cards. So this helps with the overall consistency of the deck. Very awesome card to have. 2 copies of Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Back row hate for those back row heavy decks, like Eldritch. And of course, I am also running 2 copies of Full Force Virus, tributing off a monster with 2,000 or more defense points. Forces your opponent to destroy any cards on the field or in their hand, or that they draw that has 1,500 or less defense points, and that can spell problems for a lot of different decks out there, including something like Adamantipator. So, we also are running 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Again, hand trap. You can activate from your hand multiple times during the course of your turn, which is very awesome. On the field, you can negate other problematic back row cards. So, also a very useful card to have in this deck. And last but not least, we have the 5th Lair of Darkness in this deck, which is going to be Metaverse. Activate this card, you get Lair of Darkness during your opponent's turn. Alright, going into the extra deck. DD Stone King Darius, a natural fit in rank 3 Fiend decks. Basically, you can make it unkillable, and then it basically destroys the monster it battles, and it hits their opponent with 500 points of effect damage. Ghost Trick Alucard, detaching materials to pop cards off your opponent's field. Leviair to basically return banished monsters to the field. We got the number lineup. We got Giga Brilliant, power boost all your monsters. We got number 26 and number 30, which is a neat little rank 3 package in this deck. Basically, what you want to do is you want to make 26 and then Acid Golem, because Acid Golem prevents you from special summoning after you get him on the field. During a standby phase, you have to detach a material from this card, or get hit with 2,000 points of effect damage. What you want to do is that get this guy down to 1 material, and then utilize 26's effect, where you can actually detach it, make it attack your opponent directly, and then because of this guy's effect, you're actually swapping this guy over to your opponent's field. And then during their standby phase, they have to get rid of the last material or take the 2,000 points of damage, and then they're stuck with a monster that can't attack and blocks their special summons. So, very little neat and nasty little combination right there, if you could pull it off. Number 47 to attack directly. 2,000 points to the face isn't funny. Number 75, just to power boost any other number monsters that you have on the field. Fahrenheit, again, more busting up cards. And of course, because we have the Burning Abyss cards, we are running a Burning Abyss package in the extra deck. Dante for Mills, Beatrice for Disruption, Pilgrim for his body, and we also have Cherubini to send cards to the graveyard to basically do their things. We are running Wee Witch's Apprentice, pretty easy in this deck. Every card is Darker Tribute and will power boost every monster by 500 attack. And last card would be Beat Cop from the Underworld. Make it with 2 Darker Tribute monsters. You could then tribute off a monster on the field, which works insanely well with Lair of Darkness, to put a patrol counter on one of your cards, and that card can't be destroyed by card effect or battle, which is just so huge. Guys, that is it for my Lair of Darkness deck profile for July 2020. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe and enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the links to my affiliates, tcgplayer.com and sidedeckversus.com. Great resources for any Yu-Gi-Oh player. Follow me on social media, Twitter and Reddit, and if you guys want to help grow my community to even greater heights, the link to my Discord server is also in the description box below. Join the conversation, we'd love to have you. Guys, as always, until next time, peace!